Clinic 5 Addiction Recovery. Addiction doesn't look like you think.
My name is Brittany. I'm a person just like you are, except for I am a recovering addict. I found hope and I found healing here at Clinic 5 with the help of the amazing staff and doctors. I see my future bright. I actually see a future now.
Clinic 5 Addiction Recovery. Addiction doesn't look like you think. Call 256-952-2709 or
So my husband and I decided to open Jasmine's Screw and Cantina here in Gaston. We already have a business, it's Jasmine's Lopez Agency. So here Gaston was the best place to open a second business. Exchange Bank made this really, really easy. I thought it was gonna be a really hard process, but they were so nice, so sweet, and they explained everything by detail. And as you can see, they helped me make all this possible. It was really easy and they were always there. They were just a phone call away.
Trent Thrasher Construction. From idea to completion, we manage it all. At Trent Thrasher Construction, we create spaces big enough to hold your dreams. We believe in the nobility of hard work. That's what sets us apart. We take pride in everything that we do. There are lots of companies out there that can build your project, but at Trent Thrasher Construction, we don't just build, we create, innovate, collaborate, and take absolute pride in every single project we do. Trent Thrasher Construction. We're here for you.
Gotta act right.
And that's why firemen are better than policemen.
That's the story. You'll have
Dissertation, I just read it.
to send in your tie camp to hear what he said. So, welcome to the Mayor Joe Taylor Show. Jeff Hunter with Jerry White. Jerry, who's this guy?
Well, you're not talking about the Right Reverend Mayor Joe Taylor.
I am.
And Joe brought along Jeff Little today.
Or
Or
that's a little dig.
Just gonna keep on saying it. Can't let nobody live nothing down.
you talk about a room full of integrity. Jeff Prince brings it with him. No question. Thanks for being with us today, bud.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like I have to be on best behavior today.
Yeah, you kind of feel different.
No.
I feel like you're a little intimidated.
He's a little bit
He is.
intimidated.
Well, intimidate's a strong word. Intimidate's a strong word.
Timid, maybe? Would that be a word?
You know, I get beat up by Joe Taylor all the time. I'm
That's
really not
fact.
too,
That's true.
but it's like, you go to revival
Yeah.
and they bring in that preacher.
Yeah, the guy that
That's what that is. That's what it is.
the
It's
guy
that feeling.
with the real slick back hair.
It's that feeling.
Where's the 3-piece suit?
Exactly
I'll go with the
right.
2-piece.
Shoes like he likes it.
Yeah,
that's that.
that's right.
The wingtails got him on.
It's time for me to leave.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
let's just introduce your guest here. And Camp said police is greater than fire.
Well, Camp's delusional.
Wait.
But anyway, no, this is Jeff Prince. Jeff's a city council member in Rainbow City. He's also the mayor pro tem from the beginning of our term, which we're in our 5th year now. About to finish up a 5th year in August. And he's kind of my right-hand man because of being the pro tem. He's the guy that presides over meetings when I can't be there. And he's the guy that's kind of my sounding board for what we're going to carry to the council, and he's just a good guy. He's been a really, really extremely involved council member, and that's I've got 5 of those, and lucky to have them. I know that there are cities that don't enjoy that privilege, but that's Jeff Prince.
Welcome.
Glad to be here on Taylor Tuesday.
It is a dinner table.
It is, man.
It's an
It's
honor.
Taylor Taco.
It is an honor.
Yeah.
Taylor Tuesday.
Taylor Taco.
Yeah. There's something
I
there.
need to change that.
Wow.
That's why you brought it.
That's a smart dude, right?
Yeah,
Now I see why.
I see exactly why.
I like it.
That's maybe my only thing today.
I like it. So, hey, just kind of introduce yourself to people who don't know you, kind of a little bit about yourself, kind of the things you like to do, your family, those kind of things. It's just
Sure.
take your hair back a little bit. Let's.
All right.
That was a hair joke.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was a little too easy. But I am Jeff Prince. I have been on city council, as the mayor said, for the last 4 years, and it's been a fun-filled, very fast 4 years, I guess.
Sure.
A lot of things have gone on. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Bevan. We dated for 9 years, and her daddy finally looked at me and said, "Son, are you ever gonna marry her?" And so in that 9th year, I proposed. We've been married. September will be 35 years.
Congratulations, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. You should congratulate my wife.
Well, condolences.
She's put up with
I'm
me for this long.
Sure.
But we have 2 children. Andrew, my son, is married to Colin Roberts, formerly Colin Prince now. They have 2 beautiful kids. I've got 2 grandchildren now. The newest one is a little girl that was just born December 20th.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I have a 23-year-old daughter that's out on her own, living at home. She's smart, yes. She's a teacher at Tala Elementary. And Andrew's, I forgot to say, he's a pharmacist for Walgreens. He lives in Rainbow City. He commutes back and forth to Jacksonville.
Where else would you want to live?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, right?
And that's one thing that intrigued me, I guess, about running for office. I can't say I never thought about it. My granddad was the mayor of Altoona, Alabama, and while we're on that
Speaking
subject,
of.
our prayers go out to the Nash family on the loss of Rick Nash yesterday. A big loss for that community. Still have cousins and aunts and uncles out that way. So
People that didn't know Rick,
yeah,
talk about a hoot.
Yeah,
that
he's a
dude
mess.
is different.
yeah. But I'd followed politics and loved politics. I do not self-describe myself as a politician. I do correct people and say I'm an elected official. That just sounds a lot less dirty, I guess. But I have enjoyed it immensely. It's been a great opportunity for me personally. And I hope that through the hard work of the mayor and our council, we've made Rainbow City a little better and got Rainbow City set to do much better and greater things in the future. So,
You know, one thing that we hear all the time is Rainbow City, working there, the environment is just next level. Is Joe lying to us? Is it really that way?
It is absolutely that way. It is absolutely that way. The snow day, and I won't call names because I don't get them in trouble, but I see one of our street crew on Facebook Live, and I'm like, "Are you just out there making tracks in the snow, or what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to do donuts in the intersection out here," but one of our police officers was parked there, so he didn't want to get in trouble. So, but no, we actually that was, and I credit the mayor for that. That is his responsibility, the employees. You know, he does bounce things off of us, but that is absolutely 100% his deal. But when we came into office, we looked at pay structures and just a lot of different things, not just money.
Sure.
But it is incredible to see the level of commitment from every department, and we say this if you watch Star meetings, most time in our comments we brag on them, and that's not just lip service.
Sure.
Those guys and girls do a fantastic job, and they actually love their job. The other night they came in voluntarily stayed away from their families to come in and keep our roads cleaned up and dragging 18-wheelers up the hill from Little Bridge and just doing whatever it takes. You know, you don't really have to ask them to do a whole lot. They get out there and get after it. So,
You know, people when you think I want to run for office, like your first thing was I want to run city council.
Right.
See how that worked out for you.
Yeah.
You run for city council, become mayor. But running for those types of offices, you think, well, we're gonna go in here and just serve, but it's not. It's a whole lot more than that. You're working with legislative branches. You're learning different types of state government and how to work together. It's relationally. I've seen people that run for office that don't have a personality. I mean, like they have the personality God gave a wooden duck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not for you because you've got to figure out how to have relationships. And
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, you know, like the best thing about my council is that, you know, we're a very cohesive unit. And, you know, when we set out from the very beginning to understand that the first thing we need to do is stop campaigning and just understand that it's time to go to work. And we did that in a few work sessions and just kind of had to lay out some rules, you know, and they're very stringent rules when it comes to municipal government. One being that the mayor is over all of the employees. The council members have to stay out of that so that these employees and our associates are not pulled apart, so that they're not drug in two different directions. And I'm thankful for that. You know, I've got a city council that when I went to them with a very aggressive pay plan, and it was to eliminate what everyone has other than right now Rainbow City is retention problems. You know, we don't have retention problems because I had a council that was willing to see the vision of the more we can give our employees, the more we can increase our revenue. And, you know, and that, I guess you would call it the old Reagan trickle-down economy.
Sure.
It really does work, and we've seen that. We've gone from somewhere around 10 million to somewhere around 20 million in revenue just in our 4 years, and that's not easy to do. I'm not saying that that's all because of us, because some of it was organic growth that was just waiting to happen, but a lot of it is where we're pressing. You know, we're in a full court press, so to speak, just to make sure that we get everything that we possibly can for the people that live here in this city. And we, quite honestly, are trying to do that by allowing people that come from outside of the city to come in and pay their fair share in what we do.
Well, you do a great job, all you guys do a great job of facilitating that growth. You put stuff into play so it's easy for people to be successful in Rainbow City. And if you do live here in Rainbow City, funny how you try to spend your money in Rainbow City.
It is.
Yeah.
We, you know, there's a state of Alabama, the League of Municipalities has put together a thing called Live Locally, and you know, and when they rolled it out this year, I was thinking, you know, we kind of did that 4 years ago. We decided then that, you know, we're going to look at what we can do here inside our city to create growth and opportunity, and we've done that. We've got really good incentive for people that decide to come and do business here. You know, we gain, it's tens of businesses per quarter. You know, we're gaining business, we're gaining industry. We're, you know, this next couple of months we'll roll out. This is our 75th anniversary for the city. You know, so it's our diamond anniversary for our city, but at the same time, we're going to roll out about 10, 11 different projects that are not only high paying jobs, but also opportunity for quality of life for our citizens. And then, you know, it also has that educational portion that comes about. And, you know, Jeff's been extremely involved, and here's a segue, but Jeff's been extremely involved in the Challenger Learning Center, which is, you know,
awesome.
Their position right now is that their building space is ready for a building. They're going to start pouring concrete in the next few weeks as soon as we can get some good weather, and they're off to the races. And I'll let Jeff talk about that.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Farrah Hayes. We hired her as the director, and that was like a home run.
That's a coup.
It really was, and I know Gadsden State was not happy to lose her, but in her career, I had a meeting with her yesterday morning. She wanted to sit down with each of us on the advisory council and get to know us and see our vision for what the Challenger Center can be. You know, traditionally the Challenger Centers service 5th through 8th graders. And I know that when you capture those kids' imaginations in the STEM world, that will propel a lot of those kids to go on into lucrative jobs opportunities that they may or may not have had without that. But I think our vision is a little bit bigger than just that. You know, maybe not at the very beginning, but we do have a vision to try to incorporate some for the younger children and for the high school kids to keep them involved. Because I know there's a ton of kids that, I mean, when I graduated high school in 1983, that was a long time ago. I didn't really know what I wanted to do other than I wanted to go to Auburn because everybody in my family went to Auburn, you know, and that was my goal. And that's
not a bad goal.
Well, it's not a bad goal, Jerry, but it's really not a great. In my case, it wasn't a great goal because I went down there and it was the '80s and I had a really good time. Got in a fraternity and of course met people that have lifelong relationships with that have helped me personally, professionally.
All that
you
you
know.
were just working on the first part of your testimony.
That's correct.
So that
That's
was.
right. That's exactly. I had a plan in place
Yes.
that no one could see.
Sure,
that.
sure.
Thank you for recognizing that,
absolutely.
Jerry. But the Challenger Center is one of the things that really gets my tractor cranked because I've got an almost 2-year-old grandson and a 1-month-old granddaughter. And where myself and my children didn't have this opportunity, they're going to have this opportunity. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's not just about my grandkids. You know, it's not just about Rainbow City. It's not just about Etowah County. We've got an 8-county region.
That's huge.
That is going to extend possibly even further. And that's one of the questions I have is what happens when somebody from Coleman that's not one of our counties says, hey, we want to be involved in that.
Yeah.
You know? So we've got some work to do, but we've got the absolute best person in the world in Farrah Hayes. I've just been wowed by that young lady. Her mom was my son's kindergarten teacher at John Jones many years ago.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
She comes from a long line of educators, and I think that if you see, you can tell she's lived around it her whole life. It's just part of her fabric. And Farrah just, she met with me last week, I think it was, and we sat down, and her first question is, how do you see the Challenger Center helping Rainbow City? And, you know, and my answer back to her was, you know, it's our job to come in and help support you. You know, what do you see? It's your vision. So, you know, we just want to make sure that we can help her capture her vision and be able to move that. You know, we're extremely involved as a council in our education system here through Rainbow Middle and John Jones and Westbrook. And we know that adding the Challenger Center just adds another layer of opportunity, not only for our kids, but now we know that we're going to become a regional educator. Mm-hmm. And that's different. You know, you don't normally have that in a city our size, but of course we're not going to stay this size very much longer.
Okay.
That's for sure.
One thing you need to do is go to Google or whatever your search engine is. Just type in Challenger Center Rainbow City. It'll be the first one that pops up. Go on and look at this website. I mean, the building, the plans, the things that this center is going to have, and the legacy of it. Find out the history of it, because it is a beautiful history of testimony. Read about testimony.
Yes.
This is a testimony of the families that lost their loved ones in '86, and this is beautiful. I think it's a
great story. Yeah. You know, it immediately came out that, you know, if you hear June, who her husband was the commander, Scobie Rogers, he was Scobie, and if you hear her tell the story of that day, it's not only heart-wrenching, but what you find out is that group of families went into immediate action drill and said, we're going to do something to pay homage to these people that were willing to give their life for our exploration. Yeah. And I think it's just it's a crazy thing that we're going to have that here in this city, and we're not taking that lightly. That's for sure. We've been a strong partner for them, a strong business partner for them, and we're going to continue to do that. and keep those kids safe when they get here.
Well, it's just another thing just another layer that makes Rainbow City special. And let's be fair, doesn't Gadsden State have enough talent? Isn't it time to give some off? You know, they got that new rock star police chief over there.
yeah, that's right.
They had to give something up.
You
Right?
mean the,
right.
fa-
It's
the
not
future
yet.
governor? You mean
Yeah,
that's what you're talking
yeah,
about?
exactly right.
Yeah, they've got to pass a little bit of that off. But, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Farrah, she'll give a big time amount of credit to the mentors that she's had in her life. You know, not only her family members that were, but she always talks about Martha Lavender, who is the developer. Her and Teresa Ray developed the idea of bringing a Challenger Center here, and then executed that plan. And then she also had Kathy Murphy. I mean, Kathy Murphy is an absolute just machine when it comes to running a school system, and she knows how to do that. She's done very, very well with it. But that's the thing that we get Farrah Hayes for sure, but we also get that mentorship and that ongoing advice and wisdom from those other two administrators.
Her Rolodex is.
The network.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
she's got a tight Rolodex. No doubt.
Just talking with her for about an hour yesterday morning, and her network. I mean, I thought, well, I can help you here. Well, no, I already know that. Well, maybe I can.
Yeah.
But she's going to do fantastic things.
Let's talk about the city in general. I know there's never many job openings in Rainbow City, but right now you have fire and police openings right now.
We do. We had a retirement in the police department, and John Bryant went into retirement. John's former chief, just was my chief when I came in. Did an incredible job. Got to that place where he wanted to finish out his career back in the ranks, and it's kind of uncommon. But how do you tell a guy, hey, I'm not going to let you go work third shift. And he did very well with it. John's a good friend and was always a very capable chief and an incredible police officer. I tell people, when you go back in the ranks and you actually show as much going back as you did on your way up the ladder, that's something really special. And John was able to do that, and he pulled it off very well. And then in the fire department, just looking toward what you're paying for your homeowners at home. The only way for us to make that better for you with the cost of insurance going up is for us to reduce that ISO number. They start high at 10, they go down to 1. One is an impossibility for Rainbow City. We're not shooting for that, but we are shooting for a 2 or a 3. We're a 4 now. We know that when we reduce that number in insurance, based on most all of the insurance calculations and formulas, we can reduce your homeowners by adding some firefighters and adding those in very critical positions. And I think we're lucky that we have an incredibly good young fire chief, but it doesn't hurt that your mayor was an ISO grader for about 15 of his 25 years.
A little something.
Yeah, a little bit about it, but being with a chief where we can speak the same language and go in and start looking at how do we reduce the burden on each family and each of our commercial properties as well. Because once we can get inside that 4, we start seeing that reduction in cost to our businesses as well. And those are thousands and thousands of dollars that can then be flushed back into our economy in other ways so that we can collect taxes. I mean, I'm very open about saying that our job is here to collect revenue, collect taxes, and take those taxes and turn them into premium services and dish them back out to our citizens, and that's what we can we continue to do. But we're going to add 3 positions. Yeah, there you go.
Great customer service here.
But we're adding 3 positions in the fire department, though that will allow us to be able to pull our assistant chief off of our engine 1. He currently rides as engine 1, and that puts him in a position to be an incident commander without having to apply labor at the fire scene. We need somebody to do tactical thinking so that we can preserve life, save property, and just create that better opportunity for the work to be done and done right. And so that's our intent.
That never leaves you, because I remember there was a fire going on, and you went over there and kind of directed.
Controlled the whole scene.
Sure did.
Yeah,
shut it down.
Had
it under control.
Well, I think that was the day that Tim McKee will tell you that it's the only time that he felt like it wasn't going to go well, and he walked by me, and I don't think I said this, but he's pretty adamant in believing that I did. He said that I walked up and said, "Are you going to get this under control?" And he said, "I think I can." And he said, "Well, you better, because it may be your last day." I don't think I said that. That doesn't sound
There's no
like
question
me.
you said.
Absolutely said it.
No question.
But
no question.
But that was one of those days again where we had such a large operation going, and we had, departments coming in from cooperating departments and mutual aid, and there was so much that was placed on him at one time. We began to cordon and section off that, and that did put me in a position where I could help him make some tactical.
Leadership and experience matters.
You're
I
right.
think so.
Sure does.
I think
For
so.
sure. And it was a very successful outcome, by the way.
Extremely successful. As a matter of fact, that was our largest employer, and I was sitting there thinking, boy,
They
you
can-
talk about this thing cannot burn down. And as a matter of fact, the police department took a picture of me in a pretty precarious situation. I was inside, and I was looking for extension of the fire, and I had a police officer's flashlight in one hand, and I had a 20-pound fire extinguisher in the other, like I was going to fend off this fire. But I felt strong about it. I did feel like
I got you, Dave. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I got you.
That's right.
That's
So,
outstanding.
You know what I just pictured is the police chief and the fire chief fighting over these qualified candidates. Yeah, where they go to the golf course and it's an 18 match.
Yeah.
Winner takes all,
Yeah.
takes the best.
I got an idea who's going to win that.
With that brand new driver, Camp Scott.
Well, I've played golf with Cam, so
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
say,
a
That driver's not going to help him, huh?
yeah, they're not going to settle anything on the golf course.
It's a pillow fight. That's what you say. It's a pillow fight.
It's a pillow fight.
One thing that I love about Rainbow City, we don't live here anymore, but my children all come here. Like they'll leave the house. We live in the county, and so they'll leave, and they'll come to Rainbow City. Our youngest daughter, Jerry, is her youth pastor, and she loves Uncle Jerry. But she'll go, "Dad, I'm going to play pickleball." I don't have to guess where you're going.
right.
I know exactly where she's going. She's going right down the road here
Right.
and playing. And
She didn't even know about this court.
No,
she had no
she
idea.
didn't.
We talked about it Wednesday night.
But when they leave, when her and when they go, I mean, they try. There's not just 4 of them. They're 10, 12 deep.
That's right.
They're all waiting to play, and they get done. And this. I'm getting somewhere.
Okay.
People are like, "Why are you building all these pickleball courts?" Well, because these people live outside the county a lot of times, and they come here, and guess what they do afterwards? They go eat. They go get gas. They go get some drinks, whatever, and they spend it here in Rainbow City.
That's exactly right. And I think that people kind of lose the thought process that we're it's my job. It's kind of to be the wizard. To sit back and say, okay, if we build this, how do we keep it safe? And then how do we collect some outside money? And
Sure.
pickleball happened to be one of them. We were the first people around here to have pickleball courts that were public, and we put those together. That took a chunk out of the council, because it was one of their first big money decisions, big expenditures, and of course they followed that lead. I had met with a national ambassador of pickleball, and so. And Jeff can talk to this, but I try to present our council with a good, compact product that they can get through. They can look at it. They have absolute free reign in looking at all of the expenses and the transparency of our finances, and in that, they get to come to a really, really quick decision on almost anything. There are times when they need another moment just so that they can process it, because they do all work other jobs and run businesses and do other things. But the truth is that if I bring them a really solid product, they get to act. And they go into an affirming position, which is what I have to have, is that for them to affirm the product that I bring to them, and they do that every time, every single time.
yeah, I think that's one thing. Getting all of us together. Anita Bedwell was the only person that had been on the council. We were all new to all of our positions.
She's the only one that scares me.
She
She's
should.
scared. She's small, but
Yeah. She's a pushover. Yeah.
No, Anita's great. Anita does a lot of things for this community and our city that people don't realize. But I think there was a feeling out period because, when we were running, and I knew Joe Taylor, I knew who he was. I'd met him before, but not on a deep level. you know. So it took some time for us to wade through some of those things and get comfortable. I can tell you today, and now I am one of the ones that probably calls him or texts him and asks him a question about, are you sure that, and fortunately he don't cuss me and say anything bad about me, but
Only in public.
and no, not in public. I won't show my text. But today there is a level of confidence that we all have together.
Sure.
We've worked so well together. When the mayor brings us something, we know the work's been done. And I tell that, and not to stroke his ego.
Don't make me cry.
I know.
Hey, that's why I never finish watching the council meetings.
Yeah.
You start to off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do it myself.
Gonna make you cry.
I ain't gonna do it.
If I don't cry, Randy Bass will cry.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, but there is there's just a deep level of trust that we all have amongst ourselves and with the mayor, because this guy, I mean, you can go by there at night and on weekends, and that office light's open, our own, and he's in there studying things, He's doing things, quite honestly, that some of us not sure what he's doing.
Keep him guessing, Joe.
That's right.
But in the end, he brings us a good product, and it does not take us as much time to sit back and sift through the weeds, because we're comfortable that everything's been done. All the boxes have been checked. Not to say that we're not a bunch of yes men at all. Like I said, I do.
Speaking of Jameson,
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a good segue there. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that.
Just so everybody would know that watches this, and I know it may take a few days for them to actually sort through this. Jeff and I did not call each other. We're so connected just in our psyche that we're
Or
wearing the
cycles.
exact same
Either way.
shirt, and we're wearing just a little bit different in our vest, and we're not wearing the same pants. So I feel a lot better now, but there's no doubt about it. There's times when Jeff
mayor-
turned me on to the place that where I need to buy my shirts, and when I did, I didn't realize that I was just going to buy every one of his shirts.
well,
I quit telling him when
Quality
Judge
and
Bank was
class,
having
right?
a sale online.
class
so.
and quality right there. What are you gonna do?
You may think they're just white shirts, but we'll give you a shot here in a moment. You can see they're the exact same.
shirt.
Let's since you're here, right? So you got that's not quite a quorum, but we'll try to get what we can. One thing that Rainbow City is not a perfect city, right? I mean, honestly, there's always issues, and we try to be upfront and talk about, hey, here's our problems.
Transparent.
Yeah, what's some of the things that from your vantage point, I wish Rainbow City would be better in this area, or here's what I think we can do better at.
Is it too late to say I don't want one of those questions?
I asked you, I tried.
He warned you. Funny.
Gosh, that is a hard question.
Yeah. What's good is a hard question, because there's not a lot of glaring faults in Rainbow City, but we can always be better.
There's always room to improve on anything.
Sure.
And when you get to a point where you don't think that, you need to go home.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us can do a lot more. Of course, I have a full-time job, full disclosure.
I got a full-time job.
I have a full-time job, and now I have a second job. My wife's always worked 2 jobs, and she's thrown that in my face quite a bit. So now I tell her,
You are happily
I do
married.
too.
she does not consider this a job, because she sees how much fun I have and we have together. But man,
I think one of the things that we all came into office hoping that we could solve, and it's a singular problem, it's a tough problem, it's a problem that I've actually had to fight against the solution, and that was that we have a 2% occupational tax that we are not thrilled with.
Sure.
And I would want people to understand that, it is our intent to eventually take that occupational tax away. But the only way for us to be able to do that is to grow the city in other ways. If not, we're going to have to cut services to do it.
Yeah.
Now, everybody knows that there was a time where myself and especially our Senator Andrew Jones, that we were battling back and forth, and I'm thankful that I've got a relationship with our legislative delegation that I can tell them straight to their face, you don't see what I'm up against here when you decide to make these decisions, and of course that did not come up the last two sessions, I believe it was, and it's because I think that Senator Jones understands that, you know, we are as conservative, you know, as he is when it comes to the spending of taxpayers' dollars, and I hate it. I pay it now. I pay it on a salary that I literally turn around and give that money away, which means I give that money away twice. It's just it is insanity that you pay, you know, for pay an occupational license fee, but when we can make that go away, we will. Now that's what every politician would say, but you know, I've been very upfront in saying that I would do all of the work that it took for us to increase revenues to a level so that we can keep our services, especially our minimum services as well as our premium services going. And you know, and those are things that for us to do away with it right now, we have to take away from something. And I can tell you that's not going to make anyone happy. So in our case now, the people that do come from the outside, which we have a lot of people that come from outside of our city into work, they pay that and help us share in our cost for our infrastructure. It does wear out infrastructure for our roads to be full, for our intersection to have its own, you know, traffic jam every afternoon. Those are good problems, but it allows for us to be able to chip in with AlDOT when they say that, hey, we've got a grant here that we can help you solve a problem, but to solve that problem, you're going to need to have $500,000 set aside. Yeah. Well, we're in the position that we can do that through good money management based on this council and based on my administrative side. And I think the thing that I hate the most is our occupational tax. I hate it.
Well, I think you know, being a resident being a resident of Rainbow City, you come to Rainbow City because of those services, and you won't. So I think you know, no one wants to pay that, but no one in Rainbow City wants to give up, you know, anything that we currently have.
That's right. You know, one of the things is, you know, that we found out was that, you know, I went to RSA, the Retirement System of Alabama, and I asked them, you know, how can we reduce the unfunded liability of our pension? And last year, I believe it was in our audit, Jeff, you know, our auditor came in. I did not prompt her. She had not spoken to me about it, but she was very impressed that we were the only RSA unit. I think there might have been one other at the time that we had a zero unfunded liability to our pensions, which means that our employees are more stable in knowing that their pension's coming to them, and a part of that was that we raised their rates, you know, of pay. And so giving raises allowed us to be able to reduce that unfunded liability, and then that unfunded liability, which is the savings to the city, allows us to keep roadside pickup and garbage, you know, and trash, and you know, and that debris pickup, you know, we've watched other cities take that off, and boy, you talk about a hot topic. But then
you got 3 hours. Read the comments.
That's right. Yeah, it'll go on forever. Fun. You know, 394 comments, and they'll get off of that and go on to something else. You know, and but the same thing happened with the city of Southside. You know, the city of Southside didn't have it, and they've now put it back on, which proves that, you know,
I asked somebody to cut it off. My bad. But they're not responding.
It's so hot in here.
Oh yeah, I got you. But it just allows for us to do a little bit better.
Well, I think you're doing really, really well. You pulled in this morning. You guys saw that Kenneth had brought us a cardboard trailer over here. That's something you guys don't make mandatory for him. That's something that your employees do upon themselves to go help organizations and businesses and individuals and families in this community. And I mean, we provide a service to the community. We feed hundreds, over 300 every single month, and you guys see that. Your police officers stop and help us make sure that we're not backing up traffic, sometimes they have to spank our hand a little bit. Hey, let's move it along.
That's right.
One stepped in and helped us figure out a traffic pattern.
Sure,
He said,
yeah.
look, hey, when they exit, let's get them going around this way.
That's right.
And you just got to think about things. And your city employees do that very thing, and you offer those types of services, and you don't even have to.
That's right. And, you know, I think that's the portion of what we've been able to do is to free our employees up to be able to make decisions. You know, I expect them to make a decision. You know, my standard saying's always been throughout years and years of being in business, I'd rather somebody make a less than great decision rather than make no decision at all. And I'm not saying make a bad one. I mean, we all know what a bad decision looks like. I've had plenty of those. But we do expect for them to make decisions, and we expect for them to go out and look for a way to serve. Yeah. If that's my mentality, and if this council, which they do well, goes out and looks for a place to serve, then I expect that of our employees. And they know that. You know, our employees are under a charge continuously that we're going to pay them on Friday, on Thursday night. And I expect them to give us our money's worth. And they can expect the same out of me. Sure. You know, just yesterday I had 2 members of our street department come in, and they knew that we had a shortfall after they were able to go back and review amongst themselves, you know, what our reaction to the storm was, to the snowstorm. And, you know, they came and said, hey, we've got a little solution here. And I said, well, get about and bring me back the absolute solution, which is how much will it cost for us to buy the implements that we need to take care of it. You know, we already had snow plows, we have graders, we have all of these things, but there's also these little nuanced things that we can do better. And they're looking for that. That's not normal, y'all.
Excuse me.
No, I think that's one great thing that I see about our employees is they're allowed to do their job. You know, as Joe said, they're allowed to make decisions. Obviously, you know, like you said, if you make a bad decision, you're gonna have to talk to the mayor.
Nobody wants that.
And so, not many bad decisions are made. That's right. You know,
Well,
it's funny how that works.
Yeah.
If you can just do something with that, get anything out of that Kenneth Payne guy.
But if we can,
right.
that's the answer to your
For real.
question. We've got to figure out a way to clone Kenneth Payne.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Dude stopped traffic the other day.
If we had,
Get out to pick up a piece of trash on the side of the road.
That's great. That's awesome.
I was loving it.
I
He just waved at everybody. And
gets off work and we'll go cut grass
Dude,
and go
special.
help people.
I think he's the only person that Joe fears that would run for mayor. I think
I've told people, you know, Kenneth runs, I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just the way it is. But I tell you, I think I would go to work every day to make him successful.
That's no
Because,
question.
Kenneth is that kind of person. Kenneth loves people. And if you hear him talk about his 3 rules, and I can't quote them, but his 3 rules are, you know, they all involve service and loving people. And
He lives it.
He
talk
lives
to
it,
us.
man. It's unreal.
Can't tell how many times he stopped to fix our sign in here. He didn't like the way it hung.
No, that's right.
or the
He's
wind
out.
blew it down, or
Yeah.
something was out the road.
Yeah, he just
He'll level it up.
He does.
So a couple comments. Rainbow City needs a golf course.
I agree.
And
Amen.
Bill Taylor says Rainbow City needs a minor league baseball team. Mayor, make it happen.
Well, we've got to get our dome first, Bill, and you know that. That's the next thing we're going to work on, is our dome stadium.
I can see the dome after the shape of Joe's head.
Okay.
That's right. I think if we look at the size of this recreation center, I believe we're going to be able to do indoor not only pickleball and volleyball and every other type of ball sport except football and maybe soccer. Maybe we can do a little soccer. Who knows? But I think our next thing is to be able to do wiffle ball.
Yes.
You know, it's big.
Absolutely.
I've been preaching this for a long time.
Yeah.
There's a league, the Major League Wiffle Ball League.
Yeah, that's right.
It's great. It's
Fun to watch.
it's in Brighton, Michigan.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
They got to figure
The
it out.
pitching's unreal.
They got it's the way that it's crazy.
Let's throw it behind you.
It is crazy what they do. Hey, let's talk a little bit about your court systems. Elizabeth Aney is special, right?
Yes.
There is no question. But you got a good leadership under her as well.
We do.
You got some good people in place.
We've got Bri and Vanessa. They are our magistrates, and Bri actually acts as the court clerk. And you have to designate one of your magistrates as your court clerk. Yeah. And they're doing really good work. And it's all based off the fact that Judge Haney cares about people. And I know it seems to always come back to caring about people, but that is the number one economic development tool that you can have is quality of life.
Sure.
And
Yep.
quality of life even comes through your courts, and so we're about to. We had Jessica Roberts. Jessica had a baby. Her husband's one of our police officers, and they made the decision to bring her home so that she could take care of her child. And we were thrilled with their decision, and we hated it all at the same time because we lost our probation officer. But I think maybe this week we close off in our applicants, and we'll be bringing on a probation officer soon. We're excited about that, whoever that might be. But that's another thing. Everybody believes that the mayor hires everybody that comes in. You know, I don't hire people. I hire police chief, fire chief, and maybe one or two other key positions. The rest of those positions are hired by the people that are supervising those areas. And you know, sometimes they'll ask me to sit in the interview, and I think that's just because they know I'm going to ask some pretty hard questions. But other than that, we let those departments run themselves, and they do incredibly well picking really good candidates and people that come on, and that's why we don't have a retention problem. You know, we just don't have that. We have an opening every now and then. Most of them we make.
I look all the time because I'm trying to find that right position.
Yeah, we
to
gotta
apply
find
for it. Joe keeps saying that he's got me, but
We've got room for you, Jerry.
where?
Well, we got to figure that out.
Yeah, I saw what you got to do to be a police officer. I ain't doing that.
That's the most Joe answer I've ever
There's the
heard.
politician.
That's the politician right there.
It just showed up.
Yes, that's so funny.
Well, in your probation office, you are losing a good one because I've worked with what I do with a lot of them in the counties surrounding here, and a lot of them just want to get their people in, out, get fines paid, get them checked in, get them done, whatever they got to do, what the court says. Not her.
No, that's right.
She acted as a counselor, as
right.
a mentor, a helper. I mean, these people would call, and she didn't have to find them jobs. She was finding them jobs.
That's
I mean, that's the type of people. That's what I'm talking about. That's the type of people that are there. They go above and beyond. So.
I'm sorry, I can't chime in because you know, Police Chief Yancey. Interviews with
yeah.
the mayor. It's tough.
Well, it's brutal when you're trying to become the police chief, no doubt about it. And
It's gotta be.
I think Camp, after having Camp made the first interview, and then we did a secondary interview and reduced the number of applicants. And that second interview was tough.
I heard the hard question was, so Mr. Yancey, who is better, fire or police?
Yeah, that's a loaded question.
I mean,
That may have
having
been
him
the first-
answer
that
that
may have
is
been
tough.
first.
He answered fire.
That's
Sure
right.
he did.
He answered fire.
Yeah.
He said, but he wants to try to get the police better. So he just wants.
That's right.
Yes, wait a minute.
Good job, Ken.
The Yanceys are from where you're from. They're all coming down here to
Yeah.
Rainbow City.
That's right.
I just connected that.
Funny thing.
Does
Yeah,
Chris
the-
live here too? Does he live in Rainbow City? Or is he back up there? You back
No,
on?
Chris doesn't live. He lives in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in county.
You gotta move down here, Chris. You retired. You ain't got nothing to do.
Where do you live?
Moving on.
Oh,
You got
now we're
another
going to
question
tell. And I also want to say that animal control is just top notch around here.
They are. I mean,
Great people.
Jeff can talk about that. He's an animal lover. You know, I've said I don't have an animal, but you know, it's my job to put people in place down there that love animals, but also understand that there's a dignity level that has to be maintained when it comes to keeping animals and pets. And you know, and I've said it very openly. You know, we've got people down there that love animals, but they also will not tolerate suffering in animals. And you know, and everybody knows what that means. I don't have to spell that out. But you know, there's a group of people in the world that believe that they can all be saved. The truth is they can't. You know, we put all of our animal control people, all of our people except maybe two now because we've brought on some additional positions. They're animal control officers, AOs, and or ACOs, and they have vicious bite training, so they know a vicious animal when they do. And I'm promising you this: we're not going to turn that back out into a family. Because of my previous career, I've seen what a vicious animal can do to a child or an elderly person, or even us. You know, able-bodied person against a 90-pound dog. I'm sorry, you don't fare very well. They don't know when to quit, and so you know we do have a very, very special animal control situation.
And I love they don't mind asking for help, and they get it. You need food, put a post. You need blankets, you need toys, put a post. The people respond to the people.
And I think that also talks about the true narrative of what Rainbow City is as far as being a loving community. is that there's a lot of cities that'll put out that they have a need and they'll get attacked for it. Why don't you take my taxpayer money? Why don't you do this and that? But the truth is there are places where we just can't do as well as you can if you will invest in our programs.
No doubt.
And that's why we don't have problems with gaining sponsorships for our drone show or for anything else. It's all because our community embraces the need and the desire to help. And I think that comes from seeing our associates, our employees, and especially our elected officials that are willing to go out there and pitch in as well.
Yeah, my daughter saved a dog that had gotten loose New Year's Eve from the fireworks, actually in a towel. You're welcome, Larry.
He watches.
But she put him in the car and called me, and I was like, I love dogs, but we've got 2 at the house, and they probably don't need to come here. And, well, do I need to take it to animal control? I said, well, let's see if we can find the owner. And Facebook, for
Sure.
all of its terrible
Glory.
but for all of its problems, it does serve a purpose, because I actually lost my dog probably 5 or 6 years ago. To some fireworks. She busted out of the gate and out of the fence, and one of our neighbors about 3 or 4 blocks right behind the Maverick. I live in Covered Bridge, so I got on Facebook what's happening in Rainbow City, and I have this black dog in my basement right now. And I was able to go 3 blocks and pick my dog up.
And just
and,
another
that's just not
another reason the drone shows are
common.
awesome, right? You don't have those fireworks that cause the problem with the animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great segue. Hey, Little Craig's watching, boss.
Hey, what's up, little Craig? That's my boy there.
Had some chicken last night. That's your boy.
That's Jerry's
No,
boy.
We
I love Craig Edzer. It's my guy.
we do have. I was actually going to speak to the fact that when we had this little storm come up last week, the one thing that I can say is that everybody looks for these cooperating government opportunities, and we all talk about that, but we have a text, a mayor's text, and immediately it comes up where Scott Reeves says, hey, if anybody needs anything, give us a call. It goes back and forth where we're just pitching it from Willie Whiteside,
Willie.
Love Willie. And then it's the after the fact text that we get is everybody okay? And then that's throughout this county that we have people that are looking out for one another, offering services. We reached in and did a little bit of road work in Gadsden, a little bit over towards the Tal area in an unincorporated area, but just because it had to be done. And I think that's the thing, is you can always see Larry Means throw that thumbs up, on that text, and that means
Especially
something.
after 9:30.
That's because Tanya doesn't allow him. She says, "Daddy, do not text anything but the
don't get
emojis."
into any long text. Don't make a post. But Larry's always just he's started out in this. He became early on. I've known Larry for years and years. He was a mentor of how do you carry out business, and I was able to kind of latch on to him a minute until I could get some momentum and understand. Okay, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
And and the same thing goes with the mayor at Southside, the mayor out in Glencoe, and of course Scott's our mayor's leader of our association and does a really, really good job making sure that we're checking on each other, and I think that's
Well, he calls you his mayor,
that's
and he
true.
means it.
Yeah.
He means it. He said, "Screw Craig," but
Easy. He's trying. You see what he's doing?
Yeah.
Okay. You see
I
what
see
he's doing.
what he's doing.
Okay.
He just goes.
That's bait.
Yeah,
It's all
it's
he.
bait.
Tell
what are
him.
you talking about? No.
And it's beautiful. I love it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Right. It's good to sit over here and watch.
But because Councilman Prince is here today,
He's on his best behavior.
we're behaving.
Yeah.
He's behaving
Well,
now.
I don't know if that's ever been said of me before.
No, that you call somebody to have better behavior.
I'll be 60 this year, and I think that's a record.
Right.
Nobody's ever said that.
Craig Enger says, "Good guys on the show today."
Yeah.
That means
Craig's,
he.
Every
He
what,
doesn't
what
like
does
you
it
or
say
not,
about us,
right?
man?
Well, he knows this, so that's fair.
Well, that's
fair.
the thing about Etowah County, and not everybody pulls the same direction. I wish they did.
Sure.
That kind of is an answer to some of your first question. I said it was a hard question, but the majority do, and everybody cares about everybody in Etowah County. I care about Scott Reeves.
Sure.
I mean, Scott, just a super guy.
He's a good dude. He's one of those, just a dude.
And he's just one of many in this county of municipalities that, I was born and raised in Gadsden on Nakalula Mountain, went to Emma Sansom. I want Gadsden to be the very best Gadsden they can be.
Sure.
And I want Rainbow City, my job is obviously in Rainbow City, since I've lived here for 26 years now. Our job is to help Rainbow City, but we don't fight amongst ourselves with that. It's not like we're trying to keep somebody from not getting something so we can get it, because we understand. And I think going to the Economic Development Academy, we were one of the first cities, and Gadsden was one as well, and Southside. Got to meet a lot of mayors and council members across this region. A lot of great friendships developed out of that that still go on to this day. I get texts and emails from mayors in other cities from other areas, that I would have never known these people, but there is a level of everybody wants the best.
Sure.
And I do believe, and maybe I had a Pollyannish view somewhat going into it, but I truly believe that right now Etowah County has the strongest leadership in place across the county, bar none, in any time of my life. And I think that it's time for us to capture that and keep the momentum going, and make what's good for us is good for everybody else.
Sure. If we can just get everybody on board with never mind. Jonathan Horton will be here Thursday. We'll talk about that. I miss
Promo's coming soon.
nothing against because I love Chris Hare. Dude he's another one of those good dudes. I miss seeing Peanut driving his MASH Jeep around. I mean,
Me too.
There's something about that was special. Seeing it parked there at City Hall, man, that was special. Anything in closing before we get you back to work?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to come on and share a little bit about myself, I guess. I don't think too much of myself. I've been
all in favor. Say aye.
Yeah, I mean that's why. Now you know why.
Got people around to keep you humble.
But I do.
Don't I know it?
I do recognize the fact that I'm in a position with a lot of help from a lot of people to do good things in this area, and that's my goal. To leave this world a better place than I found it. And do it in reverence with my Savior, my family, and the city of Rainbow City. And then Etowah County, I guess, comes next. I just think that we can really capture lightning in a bottle right now, and so many great things going on. Not just in Rainbow City, but we're here to talk about Rainbow City, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I would say is it's funny that Little Craig's on. It's Commissioner Craig Enzer is on there. I've been able to work side by side with them in Etowah County and us be able to develop things like one of the greatest developments that came out of cooperation from government here was the elimination of that rendering plant. And I think that we tend to kind of go to sleep on the fact that there was an absolute concerted effort to go in concert and say we are not going to allow this to disrupt the full forward momentum that we've got for this area, this region, this county, this city. And I'm so thankful for people like Craig Enzer and Jamie Grant and Tim Ramsey and the other members of that county commission that was willing to go in with us, and Dana Snyder over in Southside being able to take up that mantle with us and say, hey, we're ready to go, and quite honestly, knowing that we had the support of Atala, and when when you're in my position, I can't tell everything that goes on.
Sure.
Or all I would do is just talk. I'd just bloviate continuously. But knowing that I've got this support system behind me as a mayor through other mayors and elected officials is very, very strange. Jeff mentioned that, you know, we stay very involved in our National League of Cities as well as our Alabama League of Municipalities. And when you go out and find these cities that are fragmented and these regions that are fragmented, it's a mess. I mean, it's a bloodbath of people and personalities trying to be very, very important. And when you find that submissive, strong leadership, and both of those things can happen in one person or in one entity, you do capture lightning in a bottle. And this region can get ready because of actually two goofy guys and an attorney sitting in a meeting, and that was me, Craig Enzer, and Jim Turnbach. Jim was the only one in there who had any sense. And you know, for us to say to each other, what do y'all think about us? Yeah. But for us to be able to say to each other, what about us putting, you know, that mega site in Rainbow City?
Heck yeah.
And I'm telling you, that commentary can go to that man that's making his comments on the show. Craig Enzer is a forward-thinking, extremely smart young man. Yes. And I think that's the last thing that I would say is that if you look at these cities that have hired these younger, very capable people, and I believe that I helped to lead that in putting, you know, a 26-year-old kid in as my police chief. I'm sorry we changed things when we did that. Because we're showing that the people that are going to take our place, and it's not going to be long that they do. I promise you, they are extremely capable, and Camp can he can pay me in golf rounds.
Yes.
Craig Enzer says, that's why I invited Jim. Smart man.
That's right. We needed one smart man, that's for sure.
Guys, thank you so much. Stay close, stay clean. Rainbow City is going to continue to get better and better and better. And by the way, one of the fastest growing YouTube trends right now is city council meetings that are going awry. People are watching. You've seen these things?
They're all
It's great
It
TV.
is some fun stuff. And we have some archives from some around here. Maybe we'll just send to you and you can put it on there. Anyway, stay close, stay clean. We'll see you next time.